We are live. Aloha kakahiaka, and welcome everyone on this July 5th edition. Hope you all had a fantastic celebration of Independence Day for America. You are on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Ask us anything about Hawaii and about home buying and maybe anything else. I'm not too sure. Maybe anything. Real quick before I introduce my friends here, we're going to go over the quick lineup. We got a special guest from Kauai for today, so I hope you've got your Kauai questions. We're going to do some news, Hawaii news update. We're going to go through the markets of each of the islands. Of course, your questions are primary, so we're looking forward to your questions, and we're going to be reviewing some diamonds and deals, and finally closing with some motivational thoughts. All right, so it is time to warm up. We have to warm up the microphones here, and we're going to warm up the mics with some new friends. We're going to go clockwise. We got Dylan Nonaku, who's from the Big Island. We've got Ashley Wasanfu, who is from Oahu, and we have Ronnie. Ronnie Margolis. I should have prepped for that. Ronnie Margolis from Kauai. welcome, Ronnie. Let's go clockwise to give Ronnie, he's been on the show before, but not when Ronnie and I have been on the show at the same time. So give Ronnie a chance to warm up a little bit. Dylan, let's go. Let's start with you, then Ashley, and then Ronnie. Give us the shirt update. What's the shirt of the day today, and how are you doing on the Big On today on July 5th?
It's a beautiful day over here. It was a great 4th of July, just relaxing. Actually didn't relax totally, did some yard work. Actually got some jiu-jitsu in the morning. So I put some hard work in the morning, but relaxed and had a great meal with the family in the afternoon. Made a brisket yesterday, and so I was smoking all day. And it's one of my favorite things to do is smoke a piece of meat on a holiday. And the shirt is Living Hula, always the favorite, repping Living Hula with Puakini flowers on it, which is my wife's favorite flower. We have, I think, 4 trees in our yard, and so there's constantly the fragrance of Puakini in our house, which is pretty awesome. If you haven't smelled Puakini, you have not lived, I don't think. So you got to put that on your bucket list. If you've worn a Puakini lei, it's just like an amazing experience. So
Puakini leis. My wife on the other hand has plumerias. My wife's favorite is plumeria. So she's got bushes of plumerias, and they're always blooming. And she, whenever we go out somewhere, she grabs a few and throws them in her hair. It's the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing.
My wife actually got for a gift, which is really cool. This it looks like a lei, but it's like pottery, and it's like a little moat, and so you can put water in it and then stick individual flowers in it. So it looks like a lei laying on your table, but it's actually to hold the flowers. And so it's pretty cool, because it's like kind of unorthodox, where it kind of looks like a lei, but then the flowers are there for a couple of days. So it's a cool thing.
I saw those for sale. I want to get one.
Yeah, that is cool. Instead of just grabbing a cup and throwing a bunch of flowers in it. Yeah. All right, Ashley, give us the update. What's going on Oahu? How are you doing today? What's happening?
You need a short cup to put them in. So like my Puakini right now is in a measuring cup, because we were walking back from the fireworks in Kailua last night, and we were picking them off the tree, and the neighbors were like, that's what they're there for. So I love it. That's one of my favorites too. That and the crown flower. It has no fragrance, but I love how they interlock on a lei. The 4th of July was fantastic because we had on and off showers, and it's so warm right now. And so it really helped us cool off intermittently throughout the day. But I think if you're at the beach, that might have been a bit of a bummer perhaps. But we really enjoyed it because we had my friends and family over. So full house. I think I'm still half asleep, so bear with me. It was a very active day. Not as relaxing as Dylan's, but fun nonetheless.
I want to point out something that you said that I thought was really, really cool, which was you said that as you folks were walking back, you were picking Puakini flowers from neighbors' properties, but flowers that were sort of overhanging, which we have the thing. But the point is, right over the sidewalk, right, which is technically legal. But more importantly is what they said. Would you repeat that? What did your neighbors say when you guys were picking those flowers?
Oh, he said that's what they're there for. So we were walking back, and I was like, oh, I always try to be mindful, right? I teach my daughter to leave flowers so other people can enjoy them. But Puakini has a fairly short lifespan. So, I didn't feel as bad. But he was like, no, take more. Have them. That's what they're there for. So I thought it was sweet.
And because my wife is a Puakini expert, she has found out that you must pick them in order for more to come. So if you just let them die, the tree will stop producing. So you actually have to actively pick them, and the tree will produce more. So you need to pick them. It's an incentive to get more.
We were actually
Man.
helping him in
There you
to
go.
that regard. So we must go back.
How cool is that? And God's way of spreading beauty and fragrant things. As opposed, it's kind of what I liked about that. That's what they're there for. Comment was, as opposed to the "get off my lawn" from the old man comment.
No.
Which me being the old guy here. But anyway, hey, so let's move on
12
to
of us. So to your point, like the beauty of what that was is there was 12 of us, and everyone was like walking there sniffing flowers, walking away from his, yard, and everyone was so smiley. And then there was nostalgia, like, oh, when I grew up, I had one outside my window, and it brought a lot of joy, that one little moment. So
awesome.
I agree. The aloha.
Speaking of great moments, let's bring Ronnie on. Ronnie, who is hailing from Kauai. Yeah, how's it going, buddy? Nice to meet you finally. First time live that I've met. What's on the t-shirt? What's on the t-shirt? Go ahead.
Good in the world. So very active with the Rotary Club of Honolulu Bay, one of the presidents this year. And you may or may not know there's about 1,900 Rotarians in the state of Hawaii, and we do good things all around the island chain and internationally as well. The big thing on Kauai for 4th of July is the fireworks in the sky, which is always a benefit for Kauai Hospice. Lots of great music. We like to bring our own food because I'm not really big of standing in lines. If you want to get the best burger there, you have to wait about an hour and a half. So we'd rather pack a little picnic. And it's one of the big events on the island, and a really great way to be with family and just hang out and listen to music. It's about 4.5 hours of music and hula, and it's a regular thing.
I couldn't, what can you top that? 4.5 hours of music, hula, getting together, having your own food. I think my wife would do the same thing, because we're kind of, whenever big get-togethers are, like, we're always kind of iffy on the buffet line. We're not exactly sure, food prep processes and all that kind of stuff. So we bring our own food to play it safe. But on Kauai, listen to good music. Great way to go. And speaking of a great way to go, I want to say hello to our friends over here Judy, welcome back, Judy. Good to see you. Aloha, everyone. Thanks, Judy, for giving us a shout out. And Sue's back. Hey, Sue, Dylan's wife is wise, and also true for many flowering and fruiting plants. That is a new factoid I learned. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Dylan. I did not know that about the more you pick at it, but it makes sense though. It makes sense. It's the natural anti-fragility of life, right? Like sorry, I'm going to go off on a small tangent. Like you see women, the women who walk with like big pots on their head, right? Giant pots. They carry like these huge weights, and they carry them on their head. You may have seen them like in African shots and whatever, right? Those women have the strongest spines. Their spines are like flawless, straight and strong. Why? Because they're stressing the body. So stress is good. Stress is good. And Monica says, aloha, living the dream in Kailua-Kona, born and raised from the San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome, Monica Martinez. Welcome to our show. Hey, by the way, for the rest of you, I see there's a few of you on. Give us a quick shout out. Let us know where you're from. It's always kind of fun to get a feel of who's on and where they are from. So while you're all doing that, why don't we let's move on. I got a couple of news over here, and Ronnie, just for you, buddy, just for you, I brought in a Kauai story. I don't know if it's going to be a story or not. It's probably old news on Kauai, but let's just see how this goes. All right, so let's do it this way. Here we go. Okay, so a couple of things here. First of all, gang, we've been talking about this. If you're a regular on the show, you've noticed, you've seen us talk about this. Power outages are going to be normal. That's just all there is to it. There's all kinds of stories about power outage. The electric company is telling us, get ready for regular power outages. Plan for it. For example, West Hawaii residents are being strongly advised to make plans for potential power outages. West Hawaii meaning the Big Island, the Kona side. So Dylan, that's on your end. Downtown Honolulu, the grid went down horribly. We talked about this at our last show, but they're saying it's going to be a long, disruptive upgrade to get the power stable in downtown Honolulu. Leeward Oahu residents have praise and concerns about the HECO will be HECO has said, they've told us all they're going to be cutting the power when wind conditions look dangerous. This is, of course, a result of the Lahaina fires. You sue the electric company for not turning off the power. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to start turning off the power. Healthcare facilities gear up for a last resort power shutoff plan. This is in Maui. So Maui, Big Island, Oahu. Ronnie, they didn't mention anything about Kauai, but if you got anything to add about that, I'd love to know about it. So this is what's going on, folks, and the power outages are going to be the new normal. Be ready for it. Coco Palms, one of my favorite, what used to be my favorite place. I think they went out during Hurricane Iniki, and they've never come back since. That's 32 years. So the court battles continue. Ronnie, I'm going to want to hear from you when we come around what the scoop is going on with that place. I'd like to know the update. Dylan, 500 earthquakes on Kilauea. 500 earthquakes. Of course, they're all tiny earthquakes, but 500 earthquakes. I thought that was kind of a fun headline, a crazy headline. Never kind of realized what's going on. It's an active volcano. It's not just spewing out lava nice and quietly. And then finally, and not finally, but in the government, I'm here to help. I'm from the government and here to help category. It was interesting. There's Senator Brian Schatz gave a $6 million check, a $6.6 million in federal funds for Hawaii to build and preserve more affordable housing. Let's see what that $6.6 million does. And then another one, City Council, Honolulu City Council, a bill meant to give private developers of affordable housing greater financial incentives moving forward, but with a change. And so we'll see what that's going to happen. And then finally, on that story is there's a push on Maui for capping rental caps. In other words, there a cap on rentals, and it's kind of funny because it sounds good, right? You want to limit the amount that you could charge for rent. Sounds good. We don't want rent to go sky high and be unaffordable. But what happens when you cap prices? When you cap prices, you get less supply. And then that's basic economics 101. It's gonna be fun to see how that all goes. Okay, and then finally, Diamond Head. Folks, if you're gonna go hiking, you got to kind of be careful with where you're going. It may look beautiful. You may see all kinds of great shots on Instagram, but know before you go if you can do it or not. The Diamond Head hike is not a difficult hike, but it is difficult for some people. It tops the list of places that people have been that needed to have hike-related rescues. It beat even the crazy Coco Head Stairs, which is way, way, way gnarlier than Diamond Head, but not that many people go there. So be careful. Be careful when you go out. Be careful when you go out. All right. Let's do this. I think it's time for some, let's go through some market updates. Let's talk about the island, and maybe if you want to reflect on the news, let's go in reverse order here. Ronnie, why don't you get us started? Give us the update. Tell us what you see. Here's what we want to know in kind of a summary format. What's the scoop? What do you see on the Kauai real estate market? What do you want to report? And if there's anything new, if there's any newsworthy things that you want to talk about Kauai, like Coco Palms or whatever, give us the update, Ronnie.
Happy to do so. Well, I think as probably is the case on this statewide real estate, awareness and mindset show, sales in June were down from sales in May. Dylan's a good inspirer to me, or mentor. He goes over the numbers. I've always been a numbers guy, but I kind of have to laugh when I go through and let's look at what's happening in Lihue. That's our town core. Oh, there were 2 sales last month, but the month before there were 1. So the numbers are very, very small. Single family homes, we had 33 sales in May, but only 23 in June. So in terms of the dollar amounts of trading, it can vary greatly. There can be one $25 million sale up on Honolulu Bay. But in general, I think the trend of the last couple of months that's continuing is a little slowdown in the market, and houses being on the market, a little longer, like more days on the market, and inventory is just creeping up. Of course, and this is probably similar statewide, I always think about Kauai, we have all these microclimates, and people say, if you don't like the weather in Kauai, wait 5 minutes. And I learned that, early on when I moved there a little over 20 years ago. If I'm in a condo complex up in Princeville, maybe 18 months ago, there were a total of 4 condominiums for sale. and now there's 22. But if I happen to live in a building where there's been nothing for sale, for the last 3 months, and the last unit sold for 2.4 million, well, I'm not surprised to see that a unit came up at a place called Pu'upoa. That's the only concrete complex on the island. It's right next to what used to be the St. Regis, now the One Hotel, and it's listed at 2.95. So, you can't say the market's gone up 20% in that particular complex. But what the point I'm wanting to make is it really depends where you're focused on. Certainly on Kauai, and I kind of feel a little funny. The diamond in the rough that I put in the slide deck is, I think the ultimate fixer-upper, and yet when you see the price, you're going to kind of scratch your head because it's not that low. But again,
hold on,
the area that it's in, and relative to the market in that area. And just for a moment on Coco Palms, as someone that lives on the east side of Kauai in Kapa'a, the community has been so against this project for decades. And there's been so many petitions and people in the court, and why doesn't the county buy it and turn it into a beautiful park? I remember back in 2006, there was a showroom in the Coconut Marketplace because developers were going to come in and they would show you what the kitchen looked like and all the finishes and materials. Then, of course, the economy imploded in 2008. The project shut down. A group of developers came over from Oahu, didn't have a great feeling about them. And sure enough, they went bankrupt. I never had a good feeling for these developers. And when I read an article that said the Chinese lender of the money couldn't finalize the loan because he was sick in the hospital, I thought, what kind of lending company is that? Ultimately, it sold in foreclosure. When you mentioned it, Peter, I thought something happened in the last couple of weeks that I wasn't aware of, because the last thing I saw was this company, Kimpton Hotels. At least there was an article in the paper about 3 weeks ago, and with some pictures of what the resort is going to become. And so I think this particular developer has persevered through all the adversarial energies, I guess, on the island. And they finally, even though the permits expired, they got renewed. They expired, they got renewed. They actually did a lot of demolition work, and they're actually moving there. So maybe next year, or the end of next year, we'll have a Coco Palms. I wasn't fortunate enough to see it in its heyday, in the Elvis days, and meet all the people there from when Blue Hawaii was done. But it really has been an embarrassing eyesore, on the east side of Kauai to sit there for 30 plus years.
Yeah, it's really been sad, and I think the cogent point that you made, I think, was that the community does not want it, and why the county hasn't bought it and turned it into a park, as you said, is kind of a mystery to me. Before we move on to our other mysteries, let's say hello to a few folks who are chiming in. By the way, if you're with us, if you're with us, give us a quick shout out on the chat. Let us know where you're from. Let me read off a few folks and say hello to a few folks who are chiming in with us. We had this one early. Okay, so Tim, welcome from Encinitas, California, but living in Camas, Washington currently. I'm just going to guess that one. Hey, Tim, I think it's the first time I've seen your name on the show. So thanks for coming in. It's glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. Judy says, yeah, have you seen the HECO link where you can see the areas that will have power cut? You can put in your address and it shows if you're affected. Yes, they've it's kind of funny, Judy, that yes, there is a pretty extensive map that you can go to on the HECO site. I think what was interesting, there was one time when the outage was so complete that it also knocked out their internet service provider. So you would go to the HECO site to look at the map, and it was like, error 404, map does not exist, kind of a thing. So it's kind of interesting. They also go on Twitter. If you look for the hashtag, well, at least for Oahu, it's hashtag Oahu outage. Oahu outage will tell you what's going on Oahu for HECO. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one, Judy. Strap in, girl. Strap in. Kinaya is Aloha from Waikiki Lanai. Hey, so Kinaya is one of the original Islander Ohana members. I think she was on the first cohort, and is marching her way to living in Hawaii, and she is in Waikiki, Lanai. So visiting in Waikiki, Kinaya, that's I saw some of your posts on Facebook, the views, and I'm glad to have you with us, girl. Glad to have you with us. I'm really glad that you're hoping you're having a great time. And Hawaii Island Properties by Rachel. Aloha and good morning. Well, aloha kakahiaka. Rachel, glad that you are with us. And of course, Sue is with us. Thanks, Sue, from Southern California. So wherever you're from, folks, let us know. It's always fun. And speaking of where we are from, Ashley, you are from Oahu. Give us the Oahu market update.
I just sold something in Waikiki, Lanai. It's a really popular building, really good location.
There you go. There you go.
So 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about the market, it really looked as if the June market was heating up in a nice hot summer market, but it did not close out that way in June. So the first half of June, we had 340 sales. The second half of June, we had 302 sales. So it was a bit surprising that it had tapered out. However, the sales price, the median sales price for condos and single families combined went up almost $100,000 from $688,000 in May to $785,000 range in June. However, there was less new listings, more homes for sale, less pending sales, less closed sales, higher days on market, higher month supply. So I think that's great news for buyers. We're about 4 months inventory. We've said this several times, 6 months inventory and above is a buyer's market, below is a seller's market. But we're in this weird bubble where this is a seller's market with a buyer bubble. So I think it's a really good time to negotiate. Something I'm seeing in a micro market, just with my particular clients and listings, is a lot of things are falling out of contract. So I just had 2 this week where my clients really wanted the home and someone comes in more aggressive because everyone's sitting on the fence. And then eventually someone pulls the trigger, and then you're seeing other people be like, oh, wait, hold on, I still want it. And then they fall out probably 30% of the time or so. And then the buyer goes back onto the fence. So you are sitting on the fence, don't wait until someone else comes in, because you lose your negotiating power temporarily.
So what was you had a great line. You said what was that again? You said it's a seller's market in a buyer's bubble, or in reverse?
Yeah, it's a buyer bubble in a seller's market, meaning like via definition, we're in a seller's market because we have not enough inventory. However, buyers are still in a power seat with negotiations. So it's weird because you still have all the negotiating power of a buyer. The average listing is selling at 97% of its list price. Some prices, that means you're either still paying somewhat, around ask price, maybe a little bit more, but you have others that you're paying for less. 97% is pretty, I think, still fair to say that it's a seller's market, but buyers are negotiating when it comes to credits, days on market. If you have a contingency sale, not impossible. So it's a really nice time. Not to mention interest rates are fluctuating up and down. So last week, the week before, interest rates went down. This past week, they went back up. They're thinking next week with new Fed news, it's probably going to go back down. So I think if you are on the fence and you are looking to buy, right now is a good time, at least here on Oahu.
Interesting. You mentioned really quick, a quick aside. You said what the median price you quoted a median price of $768,000, something like that.
Yeah.
Was that the median? I'm assuming that's the condo median price.
No, that's a combination between single family and condos. Okay. So single families close out about 1.11 million, and condos is 785,000. So condos closed out at 533,000. So condos jumped up last month in May from 495,000, in June 533,000. Single families had gone from $1,050,000 to 1.11. So we saw collectively both of them jump up 100,000 in the median.
So the march, the never-ending march upwards continues. I don't know what's fueling it, inflation, etc. Obviously, supply and demand. But
that's weird that you would think that the summer market is hot, but you have less sales, but your price went up, and you have less listings. Your days on market's going up. And I think that sort of encompasses that 97% of your list price, sort of caps that all in. It's a really, when I say it's a good time to buy, it's also a pretty good time to sell as well, because you don't have over 6 months of inventory. So you're still not looking at massive amount of competition out there for your listings, but people are still buying and they're still paying 97% of what you're asking for. But you still have the ability to negotiate credits and other determining factors that are not really documented. So you kind of have this really nice market to be able to do both sides.
Yeah. I'm even a layman like me who doesn't know jack about selling and buying real estate other than, the ones that I've bought myself. I see that there's like this interesting, perfect little balance over here between buyers and sellers. That's quite interesting. Quite interesting. Well, good time to buy and a good time to sell. Dylan, give us the idea. What's good on the Big Island? It's good to buy, good to sell. What's happening? What are you doing?
So before we get into the Big Island data, I wanted to dig into some wisdom that Ronnie and Ashley just shared, right, about the market. And Ronnie talked about the sub-markets and individual condo complexes where, there may be a lot of inventory and you got to take that into consideration on price. And then other ones where there may be just one sale in the last 6 months and then you're the next one. So maybe you can ask for more money. And the point about real estate data is so difficult when it comes to like talking about averages and medians and different types of data points, because there's so much nuance that goes into that. But a big thing that Ashley talked about, which we really got to consider in the pricing, both buy and sell side of real estate, is this like 97% of final list to sell price, which if you take it on its face, you think, okay, if I asked for $1 million, I got 970,000, which is not necessarily the case, because there's so much negotiation going on right now with credits for buying down interest rates, covering closing costs. We're seeing listings all over the place where sellers are offering a $10,000, credit if you get it into escrow by the end of the month, things like that. So the final sale price doesn't always take into account the overall net price that the seller got, because if they were giving up concessions and doing credits and things like that, the sales price stays the same, but you could have had $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in additional incentives to buyers to get that deal under contract, or maybe to the closing line if they needed some help with closing costs and lender fees and things like that. So it's an interesting time overall in the market, where you have a lot of balance in a market that is technically a seller's market, and like Ashley said, you got to take advantage of that both on the sell side and the buy side if you're strategically coming up with a smart game plan. And we're definitely seeing that on the Big Island. The big headline for the Big Island is huge drop off in terms of the number of sales. I mean, we went from 441 sales in May to 328, like a 30% decrease in the number of sales month over month. And I kept talking about there's been this steady increase in the market. We bottomed out last November at 310 sales. That was the lowest in like the last 24 months, and there's been a steady climb month over month. It's been going up and up and up and up, and we got up to 441, and then all of a sudden the bottom fell out and we went down to 328. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a trend, if it's just kind of a blip, but like Ronnie talked about and Ashley talked about, and the same is true on Maui. Maui was numerically a smaller jump, because there's so few sales on Maui too, that it was percentage wise similar across the state. For whatever reason, there was a huge decrease in the number of closings, which are usually driven by something that happened 60 days ago, right? 45 to 60 days ago is when these properties go under contract. So the closings are a lagging indicator of something that happened previously, but pretty interesting, trend across the whole entire state, where we saw a pretty significant decrease in the number of sales. But median price is still up 7%. So number of sales not necessarily correlated to price. And overall inventory, we're up to 2,100 units, which is the highest we've been in I gotta go back and look, but it's been probably like 3+ years. We just cracked 2,000 total units available, and then it was kind of hovering 2,050, 2,080, and we just went to like a 2,120, I think is what we're at today. So inventory is slowly creeping up.
Okay, so again, we're in this kind of like a Goldilocks zone here of a good time to sell and a good time to buy. One that kind of thanks Michael Lotta. Welcome back, Michael. Good to see you again, buddy. Recently sold, and the lien holder for the buyers wanted docs to show there were no credits involved. Michael, credits, and what does that mean? Anybody, Dylan? What does credits mean? What's what Michael's referring to? I don't know what he means by credits.
So there's some nuances with depending on the type of loan program you use. Some loan programs limit the amount of credit you can get from the buyer. And so I don't want to get into the weeds about that, but it really is situationally dependent on what kind of loan you're doing and what the buyer requirements are.
Okay, so it's a
Yeah.
loan condition. Okay, great.
Well,
And
credits
go ahead.
credits can be, just to add to Dylan, credits can be
Mhm.
used for a number of things. So a seller can give credits, a lender can give credit, a realtor can give credit, and those credits can be used towards buying down your closing costs. Your closing costs are, your down payment, sure, but it's also like your notary fees, your attorney fees,
Title insurance.
right. It could
Yeah.
be HOA costs because they collect, several months of those up front. So it can be a number of things, but the credits can also be used towards buying down your interest rate. And right now, that's what a lot of people are leveraging credits for, is to buy down interest rates. You can do 2-for-1 buy downs, which is like you temporarily buy it down really low and it incrementally goes back up, or you can do like a permanent buy down. And that doesn't usually always make sense. So just to add on to not going
Thank
too
you.
much in the weeds, but there's
Yes.
different levels of credits.
The bottom line is
My eyes are beginning to roll back into my sockets, gang. My eyes are rolling back into my sockets.
I
I'm
can
missing.
see
I'm
that.
missing.
I
yeah.
can see that.
the short story is this is a
Yes.
pros market, right? And if you're working with a pro, you're going to get the best possible outcomes. And this is not like an amateur market where you can just go in and offer the best and highest price and overpay, because 21 anybody could sell a house, buy side or sell side, because it was an insane market. But we're back to a market
Right.
where some deep strategy can go into it, and you want to be working with not only the real estate agent but the lender. You want a really smart lender who knows all the nuances and can structure a deal the best way for you.
Okay, we're gonna move on from this slide before I completely lose consciousness. We've got to. Someone's got to be the non-realtor, because otherwise you guys are going to keep talking about stuff that I have no idea what you're saying. But anyway, hey, but Tim's getting an education. Tim says, hey, this is my first time with your live program, getting all the education I can get to make a final decision. Tim, look, dude, give us a question. What do you want to know? This is what it's for. Pop it in the question live and let us know what island that you're looking at. I'm curious. And, like Dylan says, it's really an expert game. This is an expert market thing. You really want to be aligned. Ronnie, who's been here for, has been doing this for 20 years. Ashley, who's been doing this for decades. Over a decade, well over a decade.
14 years.
14. There you go. 14 years. Dylan, who was born and raised here and kind of grew up in this business. Literally, his mom ran a brokerage. This is the people that you want to ask and you want to find out about Tim. So go ahead and do that. And want to say hi to Barbara. Welcome back, Barbara. Sorry you arrived late. Nothing to be sorry for, Barbara. We're glad that you're here. We'll listen to the opening later. Better late than never. Absolutely better late than never. I'm really glad that you've joined us on today on this post July 4th thing. All right. Judy says, Tim, Aaron, you're in the right place. This program is how I ended up living here in South Kona. Thank you, Judy. Thank you for saying that. Judy is the best. Judy is the coolest. And actually, Tim, there's a lot to learn from Judy. Judy has gone through it and she's done it in like the coolest possible way in terms of how she made the move. It's kind of been fun to kind of be with Judy on her journey. That's I've been involved with Judy for the past, I think 5 years now, at least. I think, Judy, right? 5 years, which is kind of still freaking me out. I can't believe I've been working with folks for, individuals offline. So anyway, okay, let's move on. Next slide, please. Hey, how did you get here? Did you come here through a YouTube? Did you come here through the Facebook, or did you get here through the newsletter? You really want to get on that newsletter, livinginhawaii.com. The simple reason why is stuff's going to come right to your inbox. I don't know about you, but I go to a website, I bookmark it, I save it, I think about it, I never go back there again. Right. So go to livinginhawaii.com. Things going to pop up for you to enter in your email address. We're going to notify you when new shows are coming up every other week. There's new content, there's new videos. And of course, there's the Islander Ohana, which sneak peek Islander Ohana cohort is going to form for the fall. I haven't made the formal announcement yet, but get ready because we're going to have the next cohort of the Islander Ohana is going to be coming on. All right. I got I know who this is I love, this is my funnest name here, Maximum Salad. Aloha, everyone. Just passed 3-year anniversary. I don't know why it's been 3 years. I mean, I remember when you guys just moved over. I remember, I know who I'm talking to, and I love the Maximum Salad because, folks, for the locals here, if you shorten Maximum Salad, you get Max Salad. Max Salad is short for the local name of macaroni salad, mac salad, right? You always get 2 scoops rice. When you get the plate luncheon, you get 2 scoops rice, the kalbi, the barbecue chicken, and of course mac salad on the side. So mac salad, maximum salad. Welcome. Good to hear you here. Good that you are here with us. Michael says, thanks, Michael, for clarifying it. They wanted to verify the sale price was real, no incentives. Okay, see, gang. So to my 3 realtor friends here, Michael's got the headline. That's all you guys had to say. They wanted to verify the sale price was real, no incentives. That would have done it. Now I understand it. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for explaining. All right. Hey, look, so we're going to move on to your questions here. I want the right slide. Let's do it that way. Yeah. The most important questions are yours. I've got some slides, and Ronnie, actually, I got a Kauai question. I brought a Kauai slide just for you to talk about. So, but folks, if you've got questions, today's the day, and we have Ronnie who's with us, who's from Kauai, the Kauai expert as well. So your questions come first, but I do have some slides. Let's get into a little bit of a conversation over here and talk about what's next, which is for Ronnie. This is for you, Ronnie. So here we go. So we had Chuck from New Orleans who had sent us this, and he said, look, we're considering moving to Kapa'a, near where you live, on Kauai. What's it like on Kauai? How's the rental market in the Kapa'a area? What are some of the biggest, but maybe less obvious differences about living on Kauai versus Oahu? So Ronnie, we're going to all kind of chime in over here one by one, but you first, how would you answer Chuck's question?
Well, I'll take it in reverse order. The differences between Oahu versus Kauai. Well, we don't have any highways, we don't have any freeways, and we have almost no traffic. However, if you want to do something at night after 9 o'clock, there aren't a lot of options. Kauai has 63 white sandy beaches, more than the entire state combined. So when I first moved to Kauai and people would come into an open house, which I did a lot of when I first started, and they would say, well, I'm thinking about Oahu or Kauai, I would like scratch my head. Are you out of your mind? I mean, they're like 2 different worlds. I think, for anyone, it's like, what's important to you in your life? What are the qualities that you value? Are you looking for quiet? Are you looking for birds? Are you looking for beaches? Are you looking for hikes? Well, you can get those on every island, but it's called the Garden Island because it's green and verdant, and you can sit on your lanai and watch your grass grow if you choose to do so. In terms of the rental market, unfortunately, the rental market has just tracked with the housing market. So, what you could rent for $2,200 a month 3 or 4 years ago is now $4,000 or $4,200 a month. And rents are high. They're hard to find. If you look on some of the social sites like Nextdoor, constantly see people asking for affordable rentals. You could pay $1,800 to live in a studio apartment. So it's very difficult. A lot of people, I think, come to realtors, and certainly to me. I'm not involved in property management, but what I will always do for anyone looking to move to my island is send me a detailed, a description of what you want, how many kids, pets, size, location. And I do an email blast to the 573 realtors. A lot of those people have properties, that aren't on Craigslist. I mean, I would say Craigslist is probably the number one place, although I recently found out that Zillow has a rental manager program. And for people looking to rent their homes, it's a pretty cool thing because Zillow does all the vetting and checks the people's credit. And so I think that's a source that's maybe a little bit different if you go on Zillow and look for rentals. I missed that third question. You'd have to bring it up. I think I got to 2.
Yeah, no problem. That third question, I think it's about considering a move. Hey, you know what? I'll tell you something. I got something even better for you, Ronnie. I got something even better. I think. Well, first of all, thank you. You did a great job of explaining. I love the Oahu versus Kauai difference. I think we could get into like a family feud right now if we all kind of give our opinion of the difference between Oahu and Kauai. But anyway, it'd be really fun. But you know what? We got something better, Ronnie, because you know what? Tim Tim threw this at. So let's hit Tim's question, because Tim says, I'm looking to move to Kauai. I read you how to move trial by fire. That's, I guess he's talking about what I had talked about earlier. I've lived in the Pacific Northwest for almost 8 years, ready to sell, and I feel like I can make it there. Is there a certain time of the year that's better to move? Should I contact employers in my field about how hiring a mainlander goes, or should I wait? So I'm going to take care of the easy stuff, and then I'm going to have Ronnie tell you the hard stuff. Tim, on the easy stuff is this. You absolutely well, make sure you're on the newsletter. This is what the Islander Ohana is exactly about, to really answer those questions in a deep and meaningful way, in a truthful way that you will understand kind of what it takes to make it work. Really quick side note, do not, unless you're some incredible wizard of which there's only like 5 people like you employed on the planet, and you're like in the rarest of rarest jobs, do not submit a resume online to someone in Hawaii saying, hey, I'm thinking of moving there and I'm not sure. What do you think? Can you hire me? You're never even going to get a response, and people are going to laugh at you. Thank you, Judy. God bless you. There you go. ohana.livinginhawaii.com. Go there if you haven't yet, Tim. Thank you, Judy. You're the best. Judy is awesome. It doesn't work. Judy is not in my team, but she's in my Ohana, and she's like acting like an auntie. God bless you, Judy. God bless you. But anyway, so Tim, you really want to never send in your resume. I'll leave it at that. I want to go to Ronnie. Ronnie, why don't you flesh this out for Tim and Tim's question? Give Tim a better feel for what he's asking. You know, how do you make this work? He's ready to move. 8 years in Pacific Northwest. He thinks he can make it. What's your advice to Tim, Ronnie? You've been doing this for 20 years.
Well, I think firstly, it starts with mindset. You know, set your intention. I have seen the most remarkable stories, because when the people, showed up in my life as prospects, they were so clear that they were making this happen. And I kind of watched the pieces fall into place. So I think each of us could, give many testimonials on people who are like that. And they're not, we talked before about buyers sitting on the fence. Well, you can sit on the fence about moving, or you can just know that you're going to be there. I don't think there's a particular time of the year that's better to move. The time that's better to move is when you're ready to move. And I think it's a good idea. I'm curious what you do for work, but certainly on my island, there's not enough of a lot of different, skills and trades. I think, I concur with Peter. They're not going to respond to your resume. But that doesn't mean you can't explore the opportunities in a particular niche, unless you can afford to pay $4,500 a month rent for a year while you find a job. But I would encourage you to do that. I will say I have great partners in Washington, and it's always, nice to have a team that's supporting you on both ends of that kind of transition, if I can help you with anything like that. But feel free to email me or call me and ask any question you want about Kauai. If you want to know about tourist stuff, I'll pass you off to my wife. She's the local concierge for my Ohana.
I'm muted. Thanks, Ronnie, for giving us the scoop there. Tim is saying he's a truck driver, a local driver. And no family, just me. So that's going to make things easier. But it's a here, Tim. So Judy, who has been so kind to comment, Judy took, well, a lifetime, but at least 5 years to make the move. So it's transition. There's a long process to kind of go through, and it's a journey. That's the way I would say it, Tim. It's a journey, and Ronnie is so right that mindset is the key. Totally. And there's a lot to learn. A lot to learn if you want to, quote, do it right. If you want to do it right. The other way you could do it the Instagram way, which is just pack up, come on out, and walk around with your bags and try to make it work. Some people have made that work, but it's in these days $4,000 a month rent for Kauai. You better have a lot of cash. Monica says, "Are we waiting for my husband's job transfer to come through? And I brought my remote job with me. It's best to get the job buttoned up first." If you can, Monica, if you can. You were super lucky because you could work remotely and your husband had a remote job. But as an employer myself, I can tell you, and I was in the tech industry, which was, we need a lot of skilled workers. And anytime I saw a resume coming from the mainland or with a not with an 808 not with an 808 prefix, went straight to the trash. Straight to the trash. A lot of reasons for that. But there's videos and all that kinds of stuff that you could look at on the screen. Thanks. Great questions, everybody. Excellent questions. If you got some questions, make sure you let us know. Why don't we do, let's see. Okay, why don't we do this? Let's go into our let's talk about diamonds and deals, and we'll see how the show is going. And if we have some more time, we'll come back for some follow-up questions. So, gang, we're going to do diamonds and deals right now. So this is where our friends Dylan and Ashley and Ronnie have picked out some properties that they would like to highlight that they think are cool and fun, either diamonds or deals, sometimes both. So why don't we kind of get this party started over here, and let's go with, we're going to skip the Maui one because Heidi's not here. That we have a Hillcrest, 2109 Hillcrest Street on Honolulu. Ashley, what is this?
I'm sorry, a bird just flew into my window, and it was, I think it's okay, but it's making a lot of noises out there. So if you hear it, I apologize. So you're muted.
Thank you. We are not hearing bird noises, and apparently not hearing me either because of my mic is muted, but we hope the bird is okay. We pray for the bird's good health. So yeah, go on.
Truly a live show, right?
We are live, man. Live birds, you name it, baby. You name it. That's right. It's happening here. Mistakes and all.
I live by the bird sanctuary in Kailua, and so there's like an orchestra of birds in the morning, and there's all kinds of crazy, wild variants and species that come through here. And yeah, so I don't know which one just hit the window, but this one is a new listing that I have, and this is right in town in Kamehameha Heights. If you're familiar with Oahu, you can actually see Kamehameha School right on the hillside out the window. And it's between three major freeways. So you have H1, Likelike, and Pali. So it's a really prime location, especially if you have any commuting. The layout is what really sells this property, though. So upstairs is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. One of those is a primary bedroom. And downstairs is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. And that's being permitted as an ADU, which is an accessory dwelling unit. So it's a legal accessory dwelling downstairs. And this investor, his whole model is Kuleana Investments. He's born and raised here, and he's all about giving back to the community and turns over really good products. It is a flip. And, with that said, everything in this house has been done. The electric panel, the electric meter has been upgraded to 200 amp, all the wiring, all the drywall. He even ripped out, it's blue rock underneath some of the grass, but he ripped out everything and laid out sod. You have mature mango trees. They added extra parking at the top of the hill, mitigated any potential water intrusion that could happen, even though it wasn't an issue. Really, really awesome opportunity at an amazing price, 1.297. Just really great deal for a completely turnkey property that has multi-generational living.
I was going to say that is a really cool looking place. I mean, it looks beautiful. It's been redone. It's kind of like you said, it's turnkey, move-in condition. You don't have to mess with anything. And I really like the whole idea of the ADU down below, so you can live above or live below, depending on when you went in and do it, and rent out the other half, which is really, really cool. Almost like a duplex in a way, but not. Cool. Excellent. Thank you, Ashley. That's a great one. Let's see. What do we got up next over here? This is Ali'i Villas. Dylan, this is your property, isn't it?
It is, yeah. This is a condo complex right on Ali'i Drive. It's on the ocean. This unit isn't necessarily on the ocean. There's like a little tiny peekaboo view of the ocean, but I mean, it's literally a 30-second walk to be oceanfront. And just 1 bedroom, 1 bath, so small unit, but totally ready to go. You can vacation rent this. The HOA is about $700, a little over $700, but $500,000 on Ali'i Drive. This is a great either second home type situation, or if you want to turn it into a long-term rental. These do great long-term rental wise, and definitely short-term rental. You can do that. This is zoned for it, and it's allowed in the complex. And so just an awesome option. There's not that much you can get in Kona anymore at any type of property, around 500 grand. So when these come on, these always go pretty quick. So, something you definitely want to jump on if you're looking for something simple, small, easy. I always say, nobody likes to pay condo association dues, but if you're looking for a second home type situation, you lock the door and you leave, and you don't have to worry about any type of maintenance exterior. And if you wanted to rent it, you can and make a little bit of revenue. So awesome opportunity.
I was going to say, so this is within the rental acceptable zone.
Yep.
You could rent this out. You can Airbnb it, etc.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And hey, you said it's a 30-second walk from the waterfront. Now, is there like a some sort of a beach? Not to say beach access, but is it swimmable? Is it what's the beach like, and is it accessible?
It's rocky in front of here. I mean, if you got some fins on or some shoes on, you can get into the water and snorkel and stuff, but not like a nice white sandy beach, but literally less than a mile away. And actually, Honolulu is probably, a third of a mile away. You could walk, maybe a 10 or 15-minute walk. You can get to a sandy beach. You can get in. So prime location, and like 1 mile south of downtown Kailua-Kona. So, really close to all the amenities of restaurants and stuff. So super awesome.
So you can still get your feet wet if it's a rocky area. So you have to know what you're doing.
And there is an oceanfront pool. There's an oceanfront pool. So if you want to, jump in the pool and get in the water, and watch the sunset.
All right, that's a great 1-bedroom. All right. So I've been dying with anticipation to see about. Ronnie had touched on. He hinted us. He wetted our whistle at the beginning about his Kauai property. So let's see. Oops, that's not the one. Whoop. Wait a minute. Oh, you know what? I think I. Hold on a second. This is a live show here, so I'm going to have to. This is. That's funny. I thought I had it.
It's right there. There you go.
The funny part is I thought I had it right, but it skipped over. So, well, that's all right. It's a live show. So warts and all. Ronnie, what are we looking at over here? Give us this.
I was trying to interpret diamonds in the rough, and I didn't see anything rough about Ashley's listing. Not one little iota.
Mine's the diamond, Ronnie.
It's a diamond, not in the rough. They're not in the rough. It's diamonds.
Mine is a rough in the rough.
So yours is a deal. It's a deal.
Of course, this is in Princeville. And as many of your viewers may know, and if they don't know, each island in the state of Hawaii is a county. And each county has their own set of rules. Kauai's have been the most defined for the last 15 years about vacation rentals. We have what's called the VDA, Visitor Destination Area. And the entire resort of Princeville, or the area of Princeville, is within the Visitor Destination Area. 15 years ago, when the laws changed, the county grandfathered in properties outside of the Visitor Destination Area. And there are some rentals like that. They have what's called a TVNCU, Transient Vacation Non-Conforming Use Certificate. Now that I've explained that complicated thing, this is a home in Princeville. It's very close to a tourist attraction, which can be very dangerous, called Queen's Bath. The least expensive home in this area of Princeville is currently listed at 2.27. This is listed at 1.7. And, I go back and forth with my wife, who has lots of insight into homes and what people like. I think it's an investor contractor special because it really needs a lot of TLC. But it's a fantastic location. You can see the big open backyard. And that's my diamond in the rough, or my rough in the rough. I think it's more of a rough in the
well, we're going to call it a deal. This is a deal. This is a deal. And I love the.
Well, you can't, you can say you saw it first here because you're giving a sneak preview.
Okay. So this has just come on the market then.
Just about.
Okay, just about. All right. So Tim, here you go, buddy. Right here. You got the fixer upper, Tim. 1.7. It's in the VDA, which means you can rent it out.
Let me say that in Kapa'a, that's one of the areas where we've talked during the show about median price, and the median price of a home in Princeville in the month of June was $2.39 million. But when you talk about the island, of course, not every neighborhood is Princeville. But in Kapa'a, there's more affordable housing. And maybe 3 months ago, there was one home listed for under $800,000. Now there's 7 of them. So that kind of speaks to what's happening in all of our areas. And so, when there's 7 and they're not all selling, not only are they priced lower, but the sellers might be more flexible in negotiating.
There you go. Well, what you want to do, Tim, is you want to get a hold of Ronnie. And Tim, if there's links in the description, you can click through to get to a form, and we're happy to get you in touch with Ronnie or contact him directly. That'd be fine too. Of course, it works. Excellent. Okay, that is a great. That's a fun one, Ronnie. I mean, maybe it's the photography, but that looks like a big lot. How big is that lot size? Just out of
A little
curiosity.
over 11,000 square feet. Most of the
Okay,
lots
that's a big lot.
are between 10 and 12,000 square feet. There's one little area called Millie Makani, and those are 6,000 and 7,000 square foot lots mostly, and those homes sell for a little bit less.
Cool. Okay, okay. It is a big size lot. Awesome. All right, gang. Well, hey, I'm curious, everybody, if you want to chime in here, which properties would you choose? Do you want the contractor investor special? Dare we call it the fixer upper for 1.7 on Kauai, or do we go for the $500K 1 bedroom 1 bath in Kona near the beach, or do we go for the mountain up in the mountains with an ADU for 1.3? What's your choice? I'd be curious if you were going to buy something today, which one and your only choices were these three. It was your only choices. What would you choose? I'd be curious to know. All right. While you're dreaming up that, why don't we do our closing thoughts? And we're going to start to wrap up our show here. Folks, we usually have a closing motivational thoughts. Ronnie, I didn't see if you have a slide, but if you don't, that's fine. Whatever kind of comes to mind, whatever you've got. Why don't we do this? Let's move on. Oh, Ashley's got a long one. Go for it, Ashley. What is this and what does it mean to you?
What surprises me most about mankind is that we get bored of our childhood, rush to grow up, and long to be children again. That we lose our health to make money and then lose our money to restore our health. That by thinking anxiously about the future, we forget the present, such that we live in neither the present nor the future. That we live as if we'll never die and die as though we've never lived. I know it's long, but
that's a good one.
I feel like this could touch almost every person. I constantly battle, business and motherhood and family and friends. And I think we all do. So just remember that life is balance and, don't outweigh one more than the other, because we all at some point as we age, look back and have some type of regret. So balance is key.
Actually, do you know who that is? I mean, that's actually a really crazy, profound set of sort of contradictory statements that I really love. It really kind of makes you think. We lose our health to make money, and then we lose our mind to restore our health. It's like a great example. Do you know who wrote this? It's an amazing quote. Or did you write it?
I did not write it. No, I found it in a book. I've read it online. I've seen it quite a few times over the years. So I don't know who the source is, but when you guys go through, and maybe I'll have a source for you. I would have sourced it, but okay. Where I had resaw this one, it didn't have the source.
So this has been copied so many times, it's gone so viral that we dropped or forgot who the author is. But I love it.
I don't know if it's like so viral or so popular, or maybe it just comes to me a lot. You know how sometimes you see things quite often like number or something. Let me know in the comments. If you guys see this.
Yes, we've all had these strange everyone's had this, right? Where this suddenly this crazy video shows up on your YouTube feed, which is absolutely the most perfect video you could ever. It was like meant for you, or you come across an Instagram feed that's kind of happening. So it's kind of interesting. I don't. Hey, you know what the funny part? Well, we got one question that popped in from Instagram. If we have time, I'm going to hit it. Heidi's not with us. Dylan, what's your quote and how is it meaningful to you?
What's funny is, again, we don't ever pre-coordinate any of this stuff, but I think mine kind of sums up what Ashley was talking about. But don't let yesterday take up too much of today. And just an awesome reminder to live in the moment and don't dwell in the past and don't dwell in your regrets. What's done is done, and let's move forward. And that definitely applies to business. I do a lot of coaching with a lot of agents that are hung up on something that happened yesterday or 2 days ago or a month ago, and it's like has no relevance today or what you do tomorrow and the action you take in the moment. So just constantly, if I have a superpower, it's my short-term memory to forget absolutely everything bad that ever happened to me immediately and then just live for the future and the present. So this is one that's always near and dear to my heart.
That is not my superpower. I don't want that kind of superpower. But I can share something if you wish, Peter.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, please.
It's relevant to the people with passion for Hawaii that are part of your Ohana. Most of us live our lives by accident. We live it as it happens. Fulfillment comes when we live our lives on purpose. So if you want to be in Hawaii, set a purposeful intention, and you'll get fulfilled.
Excellent. Thanks, Ronnie. That is an excellent motivational quote that you pulled right out of your wisdom and experience, which is the beauty of the people in our age group, Ronnie. And I say that, of course, with all due mutual respect, because you and I look like we're in the same generation. The soon to be retiring boomers. I hate the word retiring. Someone's got to come up with a better word than retire, because retire means like dying, right? Retire means when something gets retired, it means it dies, right? There's got to be a better word, and retirement is like the wrong word. It's the wrong word. Someone needs to come up with a better word. Okay. Hey, we got a really quick question that came in from Instagram, and I just noticed it. So I hope Flip Fit Fin 13. I hope you're still here with us. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area and retiring in about a month. There you go. There's retirement age. I'm a homeowner there. I'm assuming there you mean Hawaii. I'm a homeowner there. So is the transition easier for those who have been able to afford living in the Bay Area for over 20 years? On a strictly living in the Bay Area, I would say yes. I would say the cost of living between the Bay Area and Hawaii is probably there's parity there. Housing, food, everything else. There's parity there. So I would say on a financial basis, it's easier. The part that I would say that you really want to learn about is the cultural difference. That's the key, is the cultural difference. And that's to be determined. So anyway, hope that helps. Let's get into
Peter, I found it.
Yeah.
The philosopher, Plato.
Plato. That's why it's in the public domain. We don't need to show them anymore. It's 2,000 years old. But okay. So I'm going to back up for a second here. We have some time. That's a great quote. Thank you, Ashley. So look. So here's this amazing thing, right? What's amazing? What I love about, and you all know I love old stuff. That's why I quote Proverbs every time. But think about this, right? Plato was around in 500 BC. This is a 2,500-year-old quote. 2,500-year-old quote, and it's every bit true today as it was 2,500 years ago. Every bit as true. So for those who think that old stuff is not that hot, I submit to you this amazing quote that Ashley shared with us. So thank you, Ashley. That is thank you for finding that. I appreciate that. Chad GPT to the rescue, man. Chad GPT to the rescue. God bless. Okay, so I'm going to close up with my old quote here. Proverbs 28:19. It's over 3,000 years old. He who tills his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuits will have plenty of poverty. So don't, like to Ronnie's point about being a purposeful life, don't follow worthless pursuits unless you want to have plenty of poverty. All right, folks, I think that's it. We're going to roll this one up almost right on time over here. We're going to see you in 2 weeks. Come back, get on the newsletter if you're not on the newsletter. Had a great show. Thank you all for participating, especially today on July 5th. And again, we want to recognize our incredible great nation's birthday that was just yesterday. Why don't we go counterclockwise? Ronnie, you say goodbye first, then Ashley, and then Dylan round it up. Say goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Aloha from the beautiful Garden Island. Come visit us. We'll take good care of you.
I think Tim will. He said thanks. Ashley.
Everyone have a great, hopefully long weekend. Happy 4th of July. Celebrate. Aloha.
Yeah, aloha, everybody. Have an awesome weekend. And remember, without the 4th of July, there's no other holidays. So it's always my favorite one.
It is the greatest holiday. I love it. And actually I'm going to close real quick. I like to do something truly symbolic that reflects the holiday. So on the 4th of July, I listened to this one great podcast, and they reproduced this amazing speech that I can't remember right now. Look it up. Look up like top speeches, top 4th of July speeches. And there's an amazing array of presidential speeches that were made on the 4th of July. And I listened to Frederick Douglass. It was an incredible speech, and he made it before in 1852, which was before the Civil War. And it was an amazing, impassioned speech. On one hand, talked about slavery, but on the other hand, really helped you understand how great this country truly, truly is. So Judy says, you guys are awesome. Thanks for sharing everything today. Thank you, Judy. Thank you. And Pam says, thanks. I don't want to say goodbye without saying thanks to the folks who have said that. All right, folks, I think we've all said our goodbyes. Aloha. Have a great 4th of July holiday. Enjoy. See you all in 2 weeks. Aloha.